Welcome back to the Venturis stories. We have been missing in action for over a month now due to some unforeseen family matters. It has been a difficult time, but a time that has helped reinforce some of the principles behind why we launched Venturis and this podcast. So stay tuned for more conversations from the heart in upcoming episodes. For this episode, we decided to share a conversation that I had recently with Kashira Fatima. About a month back, I had the opportunity to be a guest on her show, Simplifying Life with Kashira, and shared my journey and some lessons. Sharing the episode in its entirety here. For links to Kashira's show, please check out the show notes. And if this conversation resonated with you, be sure to follow Kashira's show. There are several other such conversations there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simplifying Life with Kashira. Today, I'm so excited to introduce our guest. He is Gaurav Zad. He's also known as the product guy. Gaurav is a renowned product thinker and founding partner at Venturis. With over 25 years of experience, he is a master of product innovation and transformation. He's also a three-time LinkedIn voice and a passionate advocate for user centricity. We surely are going to learn some LinkedIn tips and tricks from him. Let's quickly dive into Gaurav's insight. Gaurav, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kashira. Thanks for such a warm introduction. You really covered it very well. And as I was listening to that, I was like, is she still talking about me? And you are. I have done all of that. And I am the product guy. I'm a deeply passionate product thinker. I have had a long journey in the corporate world, big companies, small companies. I actually started my career way back in India, and I had a career mostly in telecommunications and networking. Eventually got curious about why do we do things that we do, and that's what got me into product and being the bridge between the customers and the builders. And I realized that is actually my true calling, finding simple solutions to complex customer problems, the user-centric approach. I really enjoyed that. And I decided, along with I have a founding partner who was also at Cisco at that point, we decided that we're both very passionate about building great products. So let's use our years of experience to help other entrepreneurs innovate. And that's where we launched Venturis. And it's been a fun ride since we've done this. We even have a podcast called Venturis Stories where we talk to other industry leaders about building great products. So that's my journey.
Thank you so much. That was incredible start to the show. Thank you for filling us, talking about your formative years and what gets you going, what makes you happy about the work. Gaurav, as I am all about simplifying life, seeing life through different people's lenses and understanding different people's perspective on it. One thing that I have gathered about you, this is our few interactions on LinkedIn, this is our last conversation, that intro call that we had, and few moments that we just spent here before the recording.
Mhm.
I gather about you that you are a person who is pretty sorted when it comes to their state of mind. Somebody who doesn't get, who isn't bothered about what's happening outside or isn't affected by some meager external factors with which today's generation really get affected and bothered. First of all, I need a validation. Is my observation about you correct?
Yes, it is, and it's been a journey. So I wasn't always like that. I at least believe it is, and it's great that you picked on that. And I love your show, by the way, Simplifying Life, because life can be very simple. And I actually love what you say about just being you. Just you are actually the best at being you. If everybody could just be themselves and stop this disease of comparing themselves with somebody else's definition of whatever success may be, we will all be so much happy, and life for everybody would be so much simpler.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you so much for adding that. I want to understand from you what you really have in yourself, that calmness, that peace, that is a superpower to have in today's time. Can you spill the beans and share a few things with our people that how did you achieve it and what people can do to stay in that state of mind and keep themselves calm and sorted, which is really important.
Again, it's been a journey for me. I'm actually, as I shared my corporate life already, I've had a very long, successful corporate career,
Yeah.
growing in companies, and that's been actually awesome. And through all of that, going back to the concept of simplifying life, while my life has been great, I have not necessarily always simplified it very much, because just like everybody else, you are associated with the external definition of success. You want to climb the ladder, you want to get the next title, next promotion, get more responsibility, get bigger house, bigger whatever, bigger car, all of that. We all
Yeah.
keep chasing that in life. And I have been on that journey, so nothing wrong with that. That's good. Everybody should do what is needed to give them what they need in life. At the same time, there are other aspects of me. I've always been very spiritual, and would read a lot of books and follow the spiritual teachings, as well as I'm somebody from childhood very passionate about sports and things like that. Was never good enough to make a career out of sports,
Mhm.
but I would tinker with writing about sports, and I joke about it with people that maybe I should have been a sports journalist instead of what I ended up doing. But so I love writing and things like that. But those were passions which kind of took a backseat as I went in the pursuit of success as defined in the corporate world. And I'm good at product. That's how I'm the product guy. So all of that came about. And life was externally, if you look at all of this, it's actually a very good life. I have had a very good life. I'm actually very thankful for that. However, then life gave me sort of a midlife wake up moment. So back in 2020, this is just before COVID, in Feb 2020 to be precise, I suffered a stroke. And this was just like a week before the world shut down, when everybody was like, okay, you're going to now just stay at home and work from home. Before that, I was running this product line for Cisco business unit, which is close to $1 billion annual run rate kind of business. And I'm like running the business. I'm somebody who basically thinks I make these decisions which control all of this. And world over, all the customers are using it. And even in terms of my personal life, I've got control of various things. However, these two events, my stroke and the COVID happening, gave me a lot of perspective that I don't really control anything. I can barely walk here. The entire world has stopped in terms of whatever I thought was the business, and that turned me further inwards. And I actually then went into a lot more of the spiritual insights and really digging inside about, okay, who am I, why am I doing what am I doing.
Yeah.
And long story short, I came across this concept of Ikigai. It's a Japanese secret for long and happy life. And Ikigai, in its fundamental, is about four type of things that we typically do in this world. One is things that we are very passionate about. One
Yeah.
is category of things that we are very good at.
Mhm.
Another is what the world needs, and the last category is what the world can pay us for. And for most of us, as we go in this quest of success and wealth generation, the last category of what your job is, how you generate wealth, becomes your identity. Everything else takes a backseat, and that to me was a big revelation that yeah, I've got all these other parts of me, something that I am very passionate about, something that I'm very good at. I love actually interacting with other people, helping other people. Like you and I have gotten introduced, and we are part through people like Ashwin and Solvega, wonderful human beings. So I
Yeah.
love being part of those communities. So all of those things, as it became clear to me, now I live my life with those principles, that how I can actually do something, incorporate things that I'm passionate about, do things that I'm good at, do things for helping others. And yes, of course, making money and wealth generation is part of it, but that's not the only objective. So that's the kind of the principles with which we launched Venturis. That and both me and my founding partner Arjun, we are huge sports fans. And we believe there are lots of lessons from sports world that can be applied to business and building great products. So we actually, our mission statement is all centered on some sports principles applied to building great products. That's what we talk about on our podcast as well. So it's in a way perfect intersection of what we are passionate about, what we're good at, what the world needs, and we get paid doing this.
I get that from where you get your strength. It is so wonderful. You mentioned about that difficult time in your life, the stroke when you had around COVID times. And I have heard you saying so many times that you're fitter, much fitter than you were earlier, which is a great thing. And I also understand that it is a very difficult situation to deal with. I don't know. Somehow we all think that nothing wrong will happen to us. We're like invincible. But then when life throws lemon at you, then we're like, oh my God, what have we gotten into? So it is one of those situations. Stroke, it's a big thing. I lost my mother to stroke, and we've had some terrible time running around from home to hospital, and I could not get her back from the hospital. It was a difficult situation. So I understand how it feels, not only for the person who's going through it, but also for the people who are there at home, in hope, waiting for the person to heal and come back. So is there anything that you'd like to tell people, somebody who is going through it, that this is how maybe you could come out of a situation, at least mentally, or some way that you could help in healing faster? Anything that you'd like to tell to those people or to their
Yeah,
family members?
yeah, absolutely. And it's actually a tough thing for the person who's going through, as well as for the people around. The biggest realization for me, bad things, that was the realization that things will happen. You don't really control anything. However, as the setbacks happen, how you deal with it, that is actually all in your control. That's where the mindset comes in. And there's this, I have become a huge believer in this concept of growth mindset, where you take setbacks, or there's a famous quote by Albert Einstein that failure is success in progress. So any setback, the moment and failure is a bad word, but any setback or anything that puts you back, if you reframe it to be a learning opportunity, then suddenly it doesn't feel like it's a failure or it's a setback at all, because it's actually an opportunity for learning. And that's how I adopted this. And for me, I, of course, did not have a choice. The reason I share my story now is that others don't have to go through this. For me, I did not have a choice, because I had to actually relearn walking, for example, and I am fitter than I have ever been in my life now. Because of that, I recently ran a half marathon also. So I actually feel that it has really, and my own journey has given me that practical demonstration of, okay, if you can apply your mind to it, anything is possible. In 3-4 years, I've gone from not being able to walk to running half marathons. And that's why I share my story, that others don't have to necessarily go through something as big, or even if they're going through something which may be much smaller in terms of a setback. But every small setback, just reframe it. It is a learning opportunity. It is not a setback. And then really dig deep inside you and be yourself. You will find strength, and you will actually come out much stronger the moment you can reframe the mindset.
Ultimately, it's all about mindset. It's all about how you think. And that actually takes me back to one beautiful line, Gaurav, that I read some times ago. It said, you can't win in life if you're losing in mental health.
Yep.
Mental health comes first. So whatever you're saying, it's all tapering down to focusing on your mental health, your state of mind. And that is such a powerful truth that we need to understand, to get anything that we are looking at, even to heal. It's all about how you look at life, how you look at the situation.
Yeah. So I think what you said about mental health, and I think COVID, whatever the world has gone through, as well as the other crises that the world is going through right now, it actually has caused many people to kind of have this existential crisis, because for the first
Yeah.
time we have felt, and that is bound to have an impact on people. It has had impact on people. However, as you said, it is eventually in the mindset. If you can shift your mindset to say, okay, yes, this has happened, I can deal with it, and see what you can learn, how you can derive strength out of that situation and get better, it makes immense difference. So I hope the listeners resonate. It is in your show. That's what I love about your show, because life can be much simpler if you can really focus on controlling your own thoughts and your mental well-being. Life can be much simpler than what we all make it out to be.
On that note, Gaurav, I'll come back to your corporate journey. Then you transition into your own venture. I wanted to understand from you. There's a lot of chatter these days about criticizing 9 to 5, and a lot of talk about that we all should have something of our own, something to count upon, because corporate is something that can kick you off at any point in time. What do you think? That number one is that 9 to 5 really that complicated? And does everybody should look at moving from the corporate to having something of their own? Is it really that profitable, or that is also, an equally risky business?
Yeah, so doing your own thing is probably riskier actually. So for anybody who's looking to weigh the pros and cons, entrepreneurship is actually most of the time a fool's errand, because the chances of success are much smaller if you are there's this concept of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and basic needs are your security, safety, stability, including financial well-being. All of that, if for people who want to jump into entrepreneurship, if they don't have that, then they are naturally going to be driven by those levels of you need security, safety, and in that case, doing something great, building great products, or building your own great venture agency is actually hard. Uh, so you have to ask yourself, why are you doing it? And if your why, and that's where we actually talk about on our podcast, as well as one of the principles that we have, start with the purpose first, and really ask yourself that question of why are you doing it? That's very important. And if you are clear about why, there is absolutely nothing wrong with go take the leap of faith. That's who we help. We help people who are entrepreneurs who want to do this, but the first thing we advocate to them is ask yourself that why question, and then do it. However, if there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5, it's fine to have a corporate job. I have actually enjoyed working in companies big and small, and the big thing that a corporate world gives you is this community feel. You are actually part of a group, which when you
Yeah.
become an independent solopreneur, you kind of miss that. So that's where one of the big things that I have, since I've started doing this, I'm part of other communities. Just yesterday, we actually released a podcast episode with the founding person of one of these communities, and even meeting you, meeting people like Ashwin, Solvega. So I'm looking for that community connection, which you will normally get from your 9 to 5. One is better or the other. Just be very clear on why you're doing it. And for us, it was very clear that doing this is aligned with going back to that Ikigai. We kind of drew a parallel to from that Ikigai to that, okay, purpose becomes your passion, then the product becomes what you're very good at, and the community and doing something for the others is kind of the market that you're building the product for, and then eventually getting paid for it is how you generate money or wealth out of it. And based on that, we have developed something we call a PM squared framework for entrepreneurs if somebody does want to take this plunge in. So we will We absolutely help people take this plunge in, but we're not advocating that everybody should give up their 9 to 5 jobs and just start doing something on their own.
True, true. Very rightfully said. So basically, it's all about finding your why and understanding that whatever you're doing, why are you doing, and if that matches with your passion, with what you want to do, then there is no issue whether it's a corporate job or it is a
Yep.
startup, your own business. It doesn't really matter. To add my thoughts to it, when I hear people talking about or saying negative things about corporate 9 to 5 job, I always think because I have been into corporate sector for a
Mhm.
very long time, and I think corporate has actually given me my identity. It has given
Mhm.
me so much of learning. A lot of things I have learned about life through my corporate job because you
Mhm.
get to meet multiple people. As you said, you get the community. And sometimes you also learn dealing with different kind of people, dealing with different kind of state of mind of people,
Yep.
navigating through life. I literally echo with whatever you're saying is that there's nothing wrong. Even I have seen so many senior people. There's some of my very good friends who some CFOs or CEOs holding some big chairs in the organization, and they've spent 30, 35 years in the organization. They've made good money. They
Mhm.
have maintained that work-life balance. They have planned their retirement. So anything which we look at that, okay, we'll do this when we get into our own business or our own setup, you can achieve it even through your corporate jobs. So
Mhm. Yep.
basically, there's nothing right or wrong in either of these things. So nothing to criticize. It's all about, first of all, do you echo with what you're doing? And second, if you do echo with that, plan it well, strategize it well so that you
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
make best use of whatever you're doing, whether it's your business or it's a corporate job.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, just being you, being yourself,
Yeah.
alignment with that, you can find that in a corporate job, and the corporate job gives you security, stability, as well as a community. If you can find that, perfect. If you are not finding it and you really believe that that is what you need to do on your own, go for it. There are ways to do that as well. And I think one thing that you mentioned there, in as you were talking about this thing that we all fall prey to, and that's been a lesson for me. Something that one of my spiritual leaders who I look up to he talks about this as an if then trap, that we all fall for this if then trap where we are always pushing out things that for now let me do this, when I have so much wealth or when I have all this, then I'll enjoy life. uh,
Yeah.
so it's actually there is enjoy life moment to moment, do what makes you whole, what makes you in harmony in whatever you're doing, and you can find that. Don't be negative, don't criticize anything that you're doing right now, with the hope that if this happens then I'll be happy. If you keep doing that if then, you will probably never be happy. Just find ways of being happy in what you're doing, and you will actually find it. If you can reframe it that way, almost everything in life, it has a duality. You can find positive in almost anything in life.
Valuable, truly valuable. Wonderful. Just continuing the talk on corporates, have you ever been part of office politics?
Yes, I would say anytime there are humans involved, because we make life, we all live in our own realities in our mind. Politics actually happens because everybody is doing things for their self-preservation, their particular idea of advancing their own things. And as you put a group of people together, mm, especially when people lead from fear, because they don't believe in abundance. They believe that it's a zero sum game. Life is a zero sum game. So if you have to win, somebody else has to lose. And that then creates this scarcity mindset, which creates politics. So as I went through and grew in my career, and as you start getting more and more promotion, of course, the pyramid shrinks in terms of the corporate ladder. The people feel that if I have to go get the next promotion, it has to be at the expense of somebody else, and those type of things happen then. things when things don't go when things go well with business, people are very quick to take credit. When things go bad with business, they want to shift the blame somewhere else. So all of
Yeah.
that actually happens. It happened with me also. However, I actually honestly, as I reflect back on it, all of those were great experiences. That is what has made me what I am today. And each of those experiences actually helped me learn things. I would actually do it all over again. And I would encourage people who may be going through this type of corporate politics in their profession to really look at what can they learn out of it.
Yeah.
Most people don't get these type of opportunities. If you're getting that opportunity, learn from it and grow. And then at the end of the day, again, really think of this as not a zero sum game. If it is, the universe is abundant, there's plenty to go around. You get into a creativity mode where if you create more, you you winning doesn't mean somebody else has to lose. You can win, others can win along with you, and then the politics will usually disappear.
I love this part. Learn from that incidents, whatever politics or whatever things that's making you feel bad. Learn from it and move on. That's a wonderful thing, a wonderful takeaway for people. And also, in few years, you won't even remember any of those things.
Yep.
These are so meager. We just put so much of our mind to these meager things that we're not able to focus on anything else. But after a couple of years, you won't remember who was that person who was doing the office politics or what was going wrong. In fact,
Yep.
if you would even want to think, you would try to, join the missing pieces because it's difficult to recall. And this actually happened with me today. I was thinking about something and then I realized that I don't remember any of the bad incidents in office or something couple of years ago. And I'm sure there was a time I used to be like really bothered. How can this person talk to me like that? How can this person say that to me? Why that person didn't respond to me in a particular way? Why was that person disrespectful to me? So yeah, I can understand that. And I think this is also something one, if you are that open to learning, you can gain all these learnings from social media, as I always talk about, that you
Mhm.
can, just suck in a lot of good learning. And also be open to learning, be open to all
Yes.
these experiences, and be excited that even if something negative is happening, there's something beautiful coming out of it for your own self. So that's a
Ye-
wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. I think it is, like you said, most of these things which seem very big at that particular moment, they are really not very big at all.
Yeah.
So just look at the bigger picture, focus on the bigger picture and what's the end goal and objective, and everything seems to become really insignificant.
Yeah, absolutely. From corporate and then setting up your own business, Venturis. This is one thing usually when people are working for somebody else, they always think that one day when I'll have my own business, one day when I'll set up my own company, this is one thing that I'll make sure that is not happening in my company, or this is one thing I'll make sure that is
Mhm.
happening in my company. So,
Mhm.
what was that one thing of yours that you felt that ki one day when I'll set up my company,
Mhm.
I'll
Mhm.
make sure that, that's kept as intact, or that is the underlying theme or underlying value, I should say, of my business.
And when we set about building Venturies, so me and Arjun, my founding partner, we did actually talk with each other about there is this thing, and we are big believers in starting with the why. So we first talked about, okay, why are we doing, aligning between the founding team on why you are doing what you're doing is very important, in my opinion. That because otherwise you will create your own politics. You may think that, okay, whatever corporate world you were in was full of all this drama, and you may call it a circus. But when Arjun and I talked about it, we are like, okay, yeah, now we are going to create our own circus instead of being part of somebody else's circus. And but that's where we said, okay, we're not trying creating a circus here. We will first, let's be very open and honest with each other and authentic with each other on why we are doing it, and being aligned with each other on why we are doing it, and then having a culture of really, at the end of the day, we are all human beings. So a company is nothing but a collection of human beings. And yes, we all get lost in the big P&L profitability of the company, and it is important. At the end of the day, every company is exists for profit. Every organization exists for that. So all of that is what feeds everybody. So all that is very important. I'm not belittling that in any way. However, never lose sight of that you are a set of people, and
Yeah.
it is the people. So that is the fundamental value that we, when we've established this, it's about, okay, it's the people you want to actually. Work is such an important part of our life. You want to have fun doing what you're doing with people that you enjoy being with. And related to that, in terms of having trust, being authentic, having humility, respect for each other, all of those are some of the core values that we talked about. But most importantly, it was like our fundamental why on why we are doing it should be aligned. The why could be as simple as wealth generation, which is the why for many entrepreneurs. And nothing wrong with that. If that's your why, get aligned on that why with who you're doing it, and talk through it at least. But don't leave that conversation to a later point. And some one person's why is something else, another person's why is a different why. Then you will create your own circus. You will have your own politics at that point.
And do you also empower your people down the line, down the hierarchy, to focus on their whys and how it can create a different culture for their own team and further down the line?
Yeah, so right now we are the product. I don't have a huge team or anything.
Okay.
It's we kind of provide our services. So I don't necessarily have a strong team. Neither do we have aspirations of building a large team of people who will do this. However, one of the things through my corporate career, where I've led large teams, hundreds of people all over the globe, I'm a very strong believer in empowering the teams for the right culture. At the end of the day, we all human beings are capable of, there's infinite potential in all of us. If you empower people, when they are not empowered, when you want to micromanage them, when you think of yourself as the boss and they are the employees, then people will only do what they're being told to, and that too they will do poorly, because for them it is like, this is your work, I'm doing it for you because you told me to do it. You're going to get that result, and you can have hundreds, thousands of people, you're only going to get so much. However, the
Yeah.
moment you empower people and make them fully feel responsible for the work, and make them see the bigger reason and align their whys with the bigger vision, that is leadership. That's not management. So that is servant leadership in a way, where you think of yourself as working for the people who are lower in the hierarchy, and your job is to serve them, to do the best that they can do. And that has been my philosophy of leading people when I led teams in the past. And anytime we are working with others right now, the way we work with other companies is we position ourselves as fractional product leaders who will come in and be part of their companies. So while at Venturis we don't have big teams, when we go in and work with clients, we are going in into their teams where they have large teams, and we want to come in and help them innovate with their teams. And this to us is the biggest difference on why people are not able to build great products, is because eventually it takes a team to build great products. They don't
True.
build the right culture. They can have an army of people, but if these are not empowered people, they're not going to build a great product. You really have to build this culture of making the entire set of people, whether it's product managers, designers, engineers, all of them feel truly empowered. Get them aligned to the product vision and the big story that you're trying to build in terms of this organization. And the result will be magical, actually. I've seen that in action in my career, and that's what we want to do with other companies that we are helping.
Absolutely. Gaurav, any regrets in life?
It's a good question, and at different phases of my life, at any given instant, if you ask that question, of course it feels like, yeah, I should have done that different or this different. uh, uh, but that's where this thing of, okay, take a pause, take a breath and think about who you are and what you truly are. So from that perspective, I actually don't really regret anything in life. I say this, that I would redo over everything that I did, including my stroke. Actually, it's because all of those experiences have made me who I am today, and I love being able to discover who I am and being me. And a different journey would have been different. It would have, I'm sure that would have been also been fine, but I don't necessarily have any regret that if I could go back at that particular time of life, I should have done this different. I would probably do everything all over again.
Wonderful. Do you have any fears now?
Uh,
Like, and I really want you to be very genuine.
yeah,
We would love to hear yeah, we'd love to hear something really interesting. Any fears?
yeah,
I'm sure we all have our own fears.
yeah, absolutely. I have actually, as I've reflected on all of this, I have realized that I have operated. So I have been a people pleaser most of my life, and I've operated out of this fear of maybe I won't be liked by people, and then you don't end up being yourself. And because I tend to, as a people pleaser, you derive your self worth based on what others think of you. So I have become aware of it through my reflection. So I would say I'm much better at it. I don't necessarily associate my self worth anymore with just pleasing others or how others are thinking about me. Yet I get caught up in that. So that fear of okay, what people are not going to like me if I just be completely authentic myself. What are they going to? How are they going to perceive? That comes about. That's one fear. The other fear is related to as an entrepreneur. So I had a very good corporate job, a very well-paying corporate job. Wealth generation was not much of a problem. Now I'm an entrepreneur. I do what I do. I'm really aligned with my purpose. Love doing what I do. In terms of the success as measured from the wealth generation perspective, it's probably a different yardstick. So I do get fear sometimes. And going back to your previous question, sometimes this thought, am I doing the right thing? Should I have continued doing what I was doing? And that would, so that fear, I think it's natural, genuine for almost anybody to have those type of self doubts creep in. And that's where I have genuinely become a believer in that. When that comes in, really reframe that to see, okay, what can you learn out of this that is happening right now? The fears are actually a very powerful sensation. We should not ignore our fears. The fears tell us something about prepare. The fear is telling you that this is not necessarily the right thing for you. So still do what you feel is the what you would like to do, but use the fear as a guidance to prepare and do it.
Thank you for being authentic and sharing your fear, because I think this is something which people would really relate with. Sometimes when people who are aspiring to have their own business or to be successful, to reach somewhere, they all, when they look at people who are somewhere, they think that, oh, their lives would have been so all settled
Mhm.
and smooth. But when
Yep.
we talk about these real feelings of ours, that even somebody who has set up their business, who doing good, but they have their own fears. What if I lose it? What if
Yep.
what if I'm on the right track or not? Answers like this, the authentic answers that really allows people to resonate with others and think that, okay, I'm not the only one who is in this boat.
Yep.
There are other people who go through that. So, yeah, that is another part I really like to touch base upon, because it has helped me a lot. The days when I was going through a turbulent time in my life, in terms of my state of mind, I always used to think that, I'm talking about a time when YouTube, Insta, and all these learnings were not readily
Mhm.
available.
Mhm.
And I used to think that, am I some unusual person? Am
Mhm.
I some weird person? Why do I have all these feelings? Why I have all these problems? Because there was no way to learn these things from YouTube or through podcast and stuff. So I never heard the other perspectives. And
Yep.
now when I listen to and speak to people and see the life from other lens, it just feels altogether a different journey, altogether a different story. Is that you're not the only one. There are people
Mm.
sometimes that helps in calming down people and also empowering them that if this
Mm.
person can do, I can also do it. So
Yeah, totally
yeah, go
agree.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. And
Yeah,
that is, I think, the power of. So in a way, as I look back, I have been in this technology world. Whatever I've done actually is to make communication happen. And in the early days of what I was doing, I used to joke with my team and people around me that we are making all this happen, but it's all going to be used for bad purposes. Eventually, people are communicating using data, wireless data sharing, whatever they're sharing, it's creating. And some of that has happened actually. They're creating negative stories, influencing people negatively, and things like that. At the same time, I genuinely now believe in going back to user centricity. If you really focus on the user centric experiences, there's so much good that has been created through the availability of the information. There's so many authentic conversations, authentic people sharing their experiences. So there is a lot of power that has been created through all these platforms. You just have to figure out your why, be yourself, and then automatically you will find things which resonate with you, and you should go look for those.
absolutely. Thank you so very much, Gaurav. I appreciate your authenticity on the show and all your time. You've shared some really wonderful pieces and a lot of things with which our audience can relate. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I think it takes courage to be able to put across your vulnerabilities, and that is another kind of a superpower. So kudos to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Kashira. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you. I feel like we can just keep going. It's been a wonderful conversation. Really enjoyed being here with you.